All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Dr. Ali Kashani. He is the CEO of Serve Robotics. And Dr. Kashani, good to see you. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah, excited to talk to you about the company. Very interesting company and very unique for sure. And it has a really great backstory of the sort of origins of it. So I'll let you sort of fill our audience in a little bit about the beginnings of Serve Robotics.
Sounds good. Yes, Serve, in fact, started 7 years ago as a division of Postmates, which was one of the largest food delivery platforms and kind of the original, one of the first companies that started food delivery in the United States. They acquired my company. I had an AI company at the time in the food space. So I joined them through that acquisition. I started a new division where we focused on a number of kind of more futuristic projects. One of them was working on food delivery robots, which we'll talk about more. And then a couple of years later, Uber acquired Postmates. So we joined Uber. And in 2021, we spun off out of Uber and became an independent company. And then more recently took the company on NASDAQ.
Yeah. Uh, Tell me about some of the early challenges that you've been able to overcome. Because in essence, the food service or whatever you're delivering goes inside the robot and it goes by itself to wherever it has to go. It really is a unique way of doing it.
Yeah, there were some really interesting insights. When you're born inside a platform, you get to see the data. And one of the insights that we got was that half of all deliveries, even in a country as sparse as the United States, half of deliveries are less than 2.5 miles in distance. You really don't need a 2-ton vehicle to deliver you a 2-pound burrito if you're just going a couple of miles. And in fact, if you take the AI and the autonomy that has been developed, the technology that folks have been working on now for more than 10 years, uh, what doesn't work on the street yet works perfectly. If you change the form factor, make it smaller, something like our delivery robots that are size of a shopping cart, where they have about 3,000 times less kinetic energy, and they have more time to process and think and react. The result is you can actually solve the problem with the existing AI and autonomy stack, which is exactly what we've done.
And can you just talk a bit about the technology that's involved in it? Obviously, your background is in AI and technology, and you use the use of lidar technology in that as well, right?
That's right. So I have a PhD in robotics and machine vision. I worked on LiDAR before it became a household name. This is back in the DARPA Grand Challenge days. We used it in mining. And our robot has a LiDAR on top that helps it navigate. Effectively, these robots are AI embodied. They are using a lot of different models that help them understand the environment and navigate it safely. We use, your kind of traditional narrow AI, machine learning based stuff, all the way to things like LLMs and visual language models and some of the latest and greatest stuff. So all these waves are helping us make these robots more reliable.
Yeah, you're in Los Angeles. You're in California, which is obviously I would think a really great market for you. You've just announced recently that you're expanding into Koreatown as well. So, talk to us about sort of what's going on in California, and it sounds like it's just a match made in heaven for that particular city.
That's right. So we have a number of partners already. One of them is Uber Eats, obviously, because we spun out of Uber and we've had that partnership from the beginning. 7-Eleven is another partner. We actually did a pilot. I see you're in Vancouver. We did a pilot in Vancouver with Pizza Hut a couple of years ago, and so there are others in the pipeline as well. But with Uber, we have been operating in Los Angeles for 2 years. And more recently, we got a contract with them to deploy 2,000 robots. Currently, we have 100 robots in Los Angeles. They've been operating for some time. They've been growing about last 2 fiscal years. We grew about 25% months over months on our delivery volume with Uber. The robots are working really well. They're the largest volume of autonomous deliveries on the Uber platform. Uber has a few partners, but we currently are the largest partner for them and growing the fastest. And the robots are actually more reliable than human couriers. So today, you can go to LA, to areas like Hollywood, Fairfax. There are a few, parts of LA that we cover, and you can order food from Uber Eats and from 300 different restaurants. And one of our robots would show up and bring you your food. And while people have a 2 to 4% chance of failure when they do food delivery, like couriers, our robots have only zero point 0.1 or 0.2% chance of failure. That means we are about 10 times more reliable than human couriers already.
And I mentioned Koreatown. Is that the idea? Is to sort of continue bringing neighborhoods within to the service?
That's right. Our expansion is very neighborhood based because you have this the way cities are laid out. You have this concentration of restaurants and businesses in certain areas,
Yeah.
and then you have a high population density around them. So even in a city like LA, you have a combination, or I should say, a collection of those type of business districts that you would want to put robots in. So we have coverage in a number of those areas right now in LA, and now we are expanding to new ones. We've started now with adding Koreatown. This is part of the longer term strategy of expanding in more neighborhoods in LA and beyond LA. We have cities like Dallas, San Diego, and actually Vancouver as well in our top list of cities that we are thinking about expanding to next year. As we build those 2,000 robots that I mentioned that we're building next year, which gets us to 60 to 80 million in revenue opportunity there, we would be expanding to cities beyond LA as well.
Wow. Well, it's very exciting. It's a very unique and interesting concept, and it obviously sounds like it's working quite well, especially in the California market and others also. So, Dr. Kashani, thank you so much. Good to get caught up with what you're up to, and good luck with everything. It's very interesting.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Dr. Ali Kashani. He's the CEO of Serve Robotics.